Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Imagine you are walking forward. Inside there is an impulse, a calling, a feeling that you were born for something greater. But at every step someone is bound to appear. Someone with a doubt, someone with a reproach, someone with a smirk. These people are not just random passersby. This is the background. This is your gym. Background people are not just extras in your reality. They are an energetic barrier. And without overcoming it, you will not reach a new level. They are important because you begin to grow precisely when you walk against the background noise. Remember how many times you were told, "You can't. Who do you think you are?" You are living in illusions. These are not mistakes of the world. These are its algorithms, programs embedded to test you, so that you wouldn't turn back, wouldn't give up, wouldn't choose comfort again, so that you would remember who you are. Look at Thomas Edison. More than 10,000 attempts, more than 10,000 times background people. Their laughter, their doubts, their advice to quit. And now his name is in the textbooks, in memory, in every light switch. Or the story of the singer who recently gathered 2.5 million people at a concert on a beach. It seems like a success. But before that, her former classmates created a Facebook group where they collectively wrote to her that she was untalented, hated on her en masse, and laughed at her dreams. That was the background. And now she is in history, while those who made noise remained in her past. So why are they there? Why does it work this way? The background is a mirror of your determination. It is an alignment. It is a vibrational check. The more you deviate from the matrix, the louder it becomes. The system is trying to roll you back. You chose to go beyond the boundaries. A background person is a role. Sometimes your acquaintance, sometimes a stranger on the internet. But all of them perform one function. They sharpen your path so that you either back down or are born anew. And that is the whole point. They are not there for you to give up, but for you to learn to walk no matter what. Not because of, but in spite of. Not in silence, but through the roar of doubts. And perhaps you noticed, as soon as you started to dream, resistance appeared. As soon as you wanted more, the attacks activated, as if reality itself said, "Are you sure? Are you ready?" The background is your test, but also, if you are on this path right now, know that you are not alone. Everyone who stepped outside the box went through this. It's just that some believed the noise, while others believed in themselves. The most amazing thing begins when you decide to believe yourself, not just to think about another path, but to actually walk down it, to start dreaming, doing, taking risks. And at that exact moment, they activate, the closest ones, not because they are mean, not because they don't love you, but because they are the first line of the background program. You begin to change, and they tense up. Why? Because you disturb the stability they are used to. You step out of the script, which means you sort of break the collective version of their reality, and the program turns on its defense. The words are familiar. Where do you think you're going? Who even does that? What? Are you special? What did you invent now? Live like everyone else. These are not just words. This is an energetic anchor. They are returning you to the familiar reality, the one where you are safe, but you aren't truly living. Every step outside the system is a vibrational tension, and those who are near are the first to begin feeling the fracture, because they feel you slipping out of the overall picture. And if you leave, they will have to review everything they considered the norm. But there is a choice here. You can stop and dissolve back into the background, or you can pass through. Accept that the resistance of loved ones is not their mistake. It is part of the design of the world, part of the project where you are the observer, and they are your exercise machines at the start. You walk, they make noise. You are silent, they quiet down. But this is not a victory. This is stagnation. Victory is when you remain yourself, even when nobody supports you. When you say, "I am going anyway." Not in protest, but in awareness. When you understand that their task is not to believe in you, yours is to believe. You might think that this happens only in your life, when you are not supported, when you are mocked, when relatives or friends pretend that you are talking nonsense. But in reality, this is a common pattern. This is the very path always walked by those who wake up. They do not support you not because you are weak, but because you begin to shine brighter and their system begins to break. It is at this exact moment that the pressure is launched. But now look at those who became great. Each of them had their own background program, and it was aggressive. Howard Schultz, the man who made Starbucks global. Before anyone agreed to invest in his idea, he was rejected 217 times. 217 times. And now his coffee shop stands in every city, and he is a billionaire. But he also sat there and thought, why does nobody hear me? It was a program. The background. Walt Disney, one of the most massive figures in history. He was called a man without imagination. He was fired from a newspaper, told that he didn't know how to come up with ideas, and then he was rejected 302 times for investments in Disneyland. 302 times. His dream was called nonsense, and now the whole world is in his cartoons. Joan Rowling, the writer who came up with Harry Potter. Before her manuscript was taken by a publishing house, she received 12 rejections. An unemployed single mother with depression, whom nobody took seriously. Now there are billions of books, millions of fans. The background, the program, rejection, pressure, doubt, humiliation, laughter. This is precisely the growth zone. The system does everything to make you doubt. It will squeeze, mock, launch through loved ones, through employers, through commentators on the internet. It will create the feeling that you made a mistake. But you didn't make a mistake. The stronger the resistance, the stronger the potential. This is a law. If you see how you are being hit from all sides, congratulations. You have already made your way out of the background. You walk into an empty store. Nobody is there. You approach a shelf, and suddenly someone goes exactly there too. You approach the checkout, and suddenly a queue forms. Someone gave a command. Let's approach, he turned on. This is not a coincidence. This is the background. The system of extras. The noise with which you are torn away from yourself. You were supposed to calmly pass through, take the product, and leave. But they throw irritation at you. A queue, a grandmother who is short of a penny, a cashier who suddenly slows down, noise, vibrations, to stop you, to disrupt the frequency. The flow in you is too pure, it needs to be blurred. The step is too conscious, it needs to be distracted. The background always activates when you tune into yourself, when you have fallen silent inside, when you have approached clarity. The system doesn't like this. It is trained for this, to turn on flashlight people when your light bulb lights up. And the further you go into awareness, the more you will begin to notice. The crowd appears suddenly, the noise intensifies only near you. Someone starts talking loudly precisely when you are focused. Someone pushes precisely when you enter the flow. This is not about others. This is about the program. It doesn't like the silence inside you. Its task is to return you to chaos. You must be angry. You must think that the world is unfair. You must react inside, because as soon as you reacted, you returned to their frequency. That is what the background, the extras, the cues, the loud conversations, the ridiculous situations are for. The loudest no's in your life you heard not from strangers. You heard them from loved ones. From your mother, when you spoke about a dream. From your father, when you began to think differently. From friends, when you first stepped beyond the limits of the shared script. This is not a coincidence. It is a mechanism. The background layer of the matrix is embedded in your immediate circle. And the closer you get to your true self, the louder they scream. This is the program speaking, sewn into them even before your awakening. Because your growth disturbs their sleep. You stood up and went where they did not dare to go. You began to see what they do not want to notice. And your awareness became a threat to them. That is why on the path of awakening, first the family attacks, then the environment, then the entire background layer. It activates when you step out of the script. The background is not just extras in a store. It is any person who turns on at the moment of your growth to shake you back into the template. Every failure, every pressure, every chuckle is an indicator that you are going the right way. Where there is noise, that's where you are moving. Where there is resistance, that's where your path is, where they say, "Who do you think you are to? You won't succeed. Where are you climbing?" Go right there. Not because you need to prove something to someone, but because the whole system says no only when you hit the yes of your destiny. It is not them against you. It is the matrix protecting the point where you will wake up. Remember one simple thing. Where there is the most noise, that's where your path is. And no, you are not obliged to return to it. You can drop it, get scared, step aside. Do what is right, what you were told, what was advised, what is safer. But know this, you will regret it all your life. Because one day a day will come when you look back and understand. I never even tried to live my life. Many people at a beautiful advanced age say exactly this. They don't regret that they made mistakes. They regret that they didn't dare to dream, were afraid to appear ridiculous. They were afraid that someone would judge, discuss, reject. And just like that, life has passed, and they never did what they wanted. Do you know what the paradox is? As long as you work as an ordinary employee, nobody touches you. You are in the system, you are convenient, you are not discussed. People say about you, well, he's ordinary, normal, you don't irritate anyone. But as soon as you begin to fantasize, as soon as you dream, as soon as you go into your own, that's it. You will become a target. Relatives, teachers, old friends, they will suddenly start attacking. They will say that you are not like that it's stupid, that it won't work out, that you've got conceited. Why? Because in this game, everything is built so that you don't step out of the script. It is a trap. You must stay in your place. Everything is arranged so that you don't live consciously, so that you simply exist. But you are no longer the same. You woke up. You see how everything works. You choose for yourself where to go. You are no longer the background. You are the creator. And as soon as you understood this, everything changes. Thank you for being with me on this channel. I wish you the best possible branch of reality. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care.